Today we'll be going over the HRM-9 and how it performs in the current Warzone sandbox. Before we get started, drop a like and subscribe. And if there's anything you want to see in these videos in the future, leave a comment. Thank you all, and let's get into the video. Before we get to any builds, I'll go over the stats. The HRM's TTK starts at 612 milliseconds. That's pretty quick. And that goes up to 704 milliseconds at 11.3 meters, and then goes to 799 milliseconds at 24.5 meters. I've got a graph that I'll put up on the screen for y'all in editing. So already it's starting off pretty good damage at range. Now let's go over a couple of the barrels, and we'll see what we can do to try and push that range out or change up how the weapon works. So I'll just come in here, show details. So you can see here, starting at 11.3 here, and then 30.5. So we'll just go in here to gunsmith barrels. If you didn't know this already, just hit 1 or show details, and you're going to get a lot of information here. So with the Thorn 90 barrel, actually let's start off with Princeps long barrel. So this is what you're going to want to use in your long range builds. If you're trying to support a sniper or something, this is what you want to use. You're going to get that nice 25% damage range buff and then 30% to your bullet velocity. It's going to be really nice. Help you hit some more of those shots. You can see it's pushing our damage, our effective damage, so that's going to be before we get our first damage drop off to 14.1 meters. That's up from our 11.3. And then our minimum damage range, which isn't all that much information because your damage will still push out a fair bit after that, out to 38.1. So we're getting a fair bit of damage at range. So we do get some negatives over here in our hip fire spread, tac stance spread, but that's not really the point of this barrel. It also will give us a pretty nice thin front sight there. So that's your Princeps. That's going to be what you want to use on your sniper builds. So we'll go over the Thorn 90 now. So this isn't going to give us any damage boosts. It's going to give us some hip fire spread here, tac stance spread if you're into that. A little bit of movement speed, a little bit of ADS speed. You're going to want to use this in your close range builds if you put a barrel on it. A lot of times you won't put this barrel on and you'll just keep your stock build. You're going to try and get some of these stats in either your stock, your underbarrel, or your laser sight. And then, I didn't need to do that. Your taciturn barrel here. This is going to be your internally suppressed barrel. So that's going to give you a negative to your damage range and bullet velocity. I don't recommend this. Doesn't seem like a good trade-off just for some recoil control, especially saying as compared to your Thorn 90, you're not getting any of these either hip fire spread or your sprint speed or your ADS speed positives. So I wouldn't recommend this unless you need to free up that suppressor barrel slot. But if you want a suppressor, go with either the Thorn 90 or the Princeps and use a suppressor that's going to give you that range and bullet velocity boost. So now we'll start off with the builds. These are a couple of builds that I cooked up, and then if you don't know Nolsey, this is his build. I don't like this, but I'm still going to throw it out there. Just for my liking, I'm not a fan of it, just because it doesn't offer that recoil control I'm looking for. It's got a nasty left pull right at the start. Not too much of a fan of that, but still pretty controllable. Plus, since it's using that internally suppressed barrel, you're going to get those negatives to your damage range. But uh, this is the build for Nolesies. Go and check out his YouTube channel. I'll drop it in the description. So then we'll come into, I keep on screwing up. What is this? Please forgive me. So this is going to be your sniper support build. This thing, I've fried quite a few people. You still get a fair amount of movement speed. But you can see I'm using that Bruin heavy support grip, so that's going to give me a little bit less of that heavy jerk and make it a little easier to control. You can see this is the build for that. Using this compensator here because that gives us a lot of this horizontal recoil control. That's going to help us with that lateral right at the beginning where it's wanting to pull us left. That's going to help mitigate some of that. It gives us a little less ADS speed, but that's not so important on a build that's trying to go for a bit of range, especially since we're already dealing with a pretty quick ADS speed time. So 18% on this. This is a good compensator if you're trying to get those stats down. And then that Bruin heavy support grip, it basically does the same thing. It's big on that horizontal recoil control and a bit of that gun recoil or recoil gun kick, which is going to be a lot of that visual jittering that you get. So if you're not using the Jack glassless optic, that stat is going to help you mitigate some of that jerkiness. But we're using that Princeps long barrel, push our range out because we're trying to support a sniper here. Folding stock because that's going to give us some more of that recoil control, push us out to range because all these SMGs, they don't have a whole lot of that stability at range. So that's going to help us there. And then 50 round drum because why not? It doesn't give us a whole lot of negatives, too bad negatives. This isn't too bad. This can be dealt with. We're already pretty quick with it. The gain of all the rounds in the magazine is definitely going to help us. Now, I haven't tested this a lot, but I have been trying squads with it. So this is what I like for close range. I do use the optic because it helps keep my view line clean, especially since I'm up close. I want to be able to see everything. If you don't want to use this, you can probably drop that off and go for something like, well, I don't have it unlocked, I don't think, but like the monolithic here, it's going to give you some of that recoil control. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe even the Sky Fury here. That would help us as well. Probably the least amount of negatives. Or this is what I like. This is what I was looking for. So this is Compensator Flash Hider. Gives you some of that vertical control, horizontal control, and not a lot of negatives. So that's what I would use in place of the glassless optic if you're so inclined. We're using that Thorn 90 barrel because it gives us those movement related stats. That 50 round drum and the folding stock because nothing else really gives us what we want. We don't want to add to our recoil. But if you can handle the recoil, you can put the light stock on in place of the folding stock. But I like how much control this gives me because I can reach out a little bit further if I'm dealing with a squad and I'm dealing with different ranges. This is going to help with that. So I don't have any gameplay for you today, but ignore the perk package. I just put this together so that I could show everyone what I'm using, kind of give you a couple of the stats. I'll throw a stat sheet up at some point. That way you can see the actual damage range drop off. Have a nice day, and I'll catch you next time.